All right, so now what we're going to tackle is the Photoshop skill assessment, section number 4, the presentation board. Now, presentation boards, let me just do a quick search. Okay. Presentation boards come in all shapes and sizes and layouts, and good places to go for references are Pinterest. I like going there. The ASLA award winners as well. They're always a great resource. But these things take time to think about and plan out. They're not something you can put together in 5 minutes typically. It takes time to build these scenes and think about all the elements you're going to put together and how you're going to storytell. So keep that in mind as you move forward and you get into your studios, that you need to dedicate a certain amount of time just to make sure that you have a really good board design and layout. Okay, even for something small like this, it looks very nice and helps sell your idea. Okay. All right. So that being said, we're going to take some of the material that we've created and we're going to create a quick little presentation board. I still have my perspective image up, and I've just done some hue and saturation adjustments and tried to create like a fallish type scene. I tend to like darker stuff, so you might want to lighten your thing up. And what I'm going to do now is go File, New. And I'm going to go to inches again, of course, and I'm going to go 24 by 36, 300, create. Okay, so now I have a board. So what I want to do is I want to take all this information, all this stuff that I really have right now. I'm sure what. Okay, I'm just going to grab it all and put it in a group, and I'm going to copy that group and just Control E to merge everything. And I'm going to grab all that, copy, come over here, and it's going to be the first layer I drop in. And I like kind of the style and aesthetic that you saw over here. You know, you kind of have these big images in the bottom or top, you know, or somewhere you have a large image and people kind of really see what's going on. That was a really good one. Oh, there you go. Something like that. So I'm going to kind of try to replicate some of this aesthetic. I'm just going to pull this to the side and Control T it and kind of drag it down. Okay, so there goes my scene. So I have a basic scene that's kind of the overview of the design for this little micro park. I know I also had the elevation and plan, or section and plan. So plan and section, and then open. I'm going to open both those up too. I'm going to kick out images in the same way. I'm going to take the images that I want. I don't want that right now. Okay. So we'll start with the section. I have my line work. I have a group together. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have two. Well, let me take this first and make a copy of it and merge it. And let me turn that off. Let me make a copy of this and merge that. Turn that off. But I want a copy of this with that. And I want to merge that. Okay. So now I have these two things. It's what I just did. I just made sure they all had the line work with them too. Okay. The next thing that I want to do, I don't want to bring on the title block stuff, so I'm just going to trim out the parts that I don't need. So I'm going to take my marquee tool and just drag a box around and do a Control-Shift-I to invert my selection and then delete the information that I don't need, and turn on each layer and go to it and delete the extraneous information. Alright, so now I'm going to grab both these and V, and I'm going to drag them to my untitled piece and drag them both in. So now I have these two big images. Now they're too big, so I'm going to kind of shrink these things down. I'm not sure how big yet, but I know I don't want them that big. So I'm going to bring this other one over and try to line them Okay, maybe a little bit more space between them. Maybe that's more appropriate, something like that. And maybe this is actually the right size. So, okay. All right, that kind of worked out. I might want to actually make them even smaller because I want to give myself some margin. So they're both selected, so just maybe a little bit smaller, so I can bring them in some, make sure they don't get chopped. And give myself a little air for title block. We'll just pretend that these are two separate elevations that we drew. And then the last, I'm going to go ahead and close that out now. I don't need to even save the changes. Plan diagram, I'm going to do it the same way. I'm just going to grab one of these though. That's the color. So I'll grab these, kind of create a copy. Bring it to the top, Control E. I'm just going to grab what I want from that. Copy. Come back here, Control V. Alright, cool. Control T to transform. Oops. Let me actually get rid of that. I'm go back to my plan diagram. I actually want that north arrow on scale, so my bad. Alright, come over here and grab this, and then same thing, Control C. Come back here, Control V. Control T. I'm just gonna. What's nice about having the graphic scale now is that when it shrinks, you want to make sure it's still legible, but that it actually gives you a scale reference for the size of your diagram. So that's nice. It's a little bit big, so I'm gonna shrink it down some still. Kind of align it there. Boom. So now when I zoom out really quickly, I have a pretty decent looking layout and diagram. You can go back and add people to these things too, and change things around. Next thing that I would do, I'd probably organize all this into a group and call it my images. The next thing I do is just do some text. You just kind of grab here and start a text box, and this might be, you know, micro park project. And this is the SketchUp skill assessment. Number 4, board presentation or board layout. How about we just call it presentation board? Alright, and maybe you put the date in here. I don't know. Am I doing this the 19th? Alright, maybe this one's a little bit bigger. Maybe it's like a 35, or maybe it's even bigger than that. Maybe it's like a 55. I gotta stretch it out a little bit. Maybe this is a little bit bigger. That's like a 30, 35. Maybe that's like, well, I'm 60 there. And then, I don't know, something like that. Put your name in there. That would also be good to have in there. That was weird. Yeah, then put your name in. Maybe drawn by. Yeah, you can just drawn by the initials. Boom. Maybe that's kind of a little bit smaller. Boom. There it is. And then maybe you would have like an overview. You kind of bring this down, and maybe this part would be kind of overview, and of course it would be smaller. It's 40. maybe it's 35. Okay. And then there's your overview. Then with an overview, you maybe go back to regular, and maybe this is like 25 and. Boom. Additionally, I would add, and for this exercise, you can just, that's fine, even if you write that or write a little message, whatever. Here, you want to go, this would be an elevation. And this is S1. Of course, that would be maybe a little bit smaller. And then I'll just copy that over. And we'll pretend that this is an S2, or we'll say S1 and color. There you go. And then kind of bring this down. And maybe in the corner, call this just perspective. And we're looking kind of towards the west. Boom, and then maybe we need to bring that over so it actually fits in, and maybe we need to check and make sure we can spell. Oh, looks like no. West, F-A-S-I-N-G. Can't see, so we'll go ahead and make that white for me. Of course, you would adjust this for whatever you need it to be. Perspective west facing, and there you have a pretty decent diagram. I might go back and, oops, I might make that a little heavier. A little bit bold, italic. Maybe that italic thing is played. Whatever, you figure out the font. What I would suggest is make sure it's really clear and legible, and easy to read. And make sure that there's a hierarchy in these things. So even those elevation, those pieces can probably be, if I go to my, let's go to everything, could probably be a little bit smaller. Control it this way too, I think that looks better. And then even the perspective could probably be a little bit smaller too. That's cool. So yeah, there you go. That's how you create a presentation board. That's really quick and dirty, but this would be, great for a quick board to show a client, and that didn't take, forever to make. So there you have it. Control save. Then when you're done, I'm gonna put that, and I'm just gonna override what I have. Well, that's allowed. I'm gonna call it perspective board. Presentation board. Alright, I'm gonna say okay. Then I'm just gonna save as. This is where you can kick out a PDF or a JPEG. Call it a JPEG for now. You can combine it. I'll just submit that in pieces, and then I'll put that in here as well, and just presentation board, and then save. Cool. And there you have it. There's another one that I did, just messing with this, with the people in front. I just thought it looked better without the people in it, so you saw more of the design. One of the tests to make sure that your stuff is looking good, your colors are looking good, is to do a grayscale. Really trying to create contrast. So once you have all this kind of stuff done, supposed to put it in the group. Wow. Wow. Oh. Apparently it's saving. Okay. Let me let go of this. Let me let go of this. Let me show you this as an example. Okay, so I have kind of all this going on right now. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. So I have this on my screen, and it's a decent looking rendering, I think. My stuff tends to be a little bit dark, so and be aware of that. Sometimes what you see on screen is not what it prints out to be. So typically things print darker. So I would do a trial piece before doing a huge set. To make sure that your stuff looks good, just do a quick desaturate on everything. I just did a filter on there. But if in grayscale it still reads and you can kind of discern everything and you can see your different elements, right here is a little shaky for me, then you're in pretty good shape. If it prints grayscale and you can still read everything, you're in pretty good shape, and that's what you're trying to achieve. Again, it does look better in color. All right. Any questions? Send me an email or catch me in studio.